Hi everybody, this is Susan Tan here with Authors Everywhere. And today we are going to be talking about writing ideas and how you get inspiration. And I'm going to talk about how story and writing ideas come together for me. And then I'm going to give you an activity and a game that you can recreate at home to start getting and sort of playing with writing ideas of your own. So for today, you're going to need a couple of things. Either some scrap paper or something like note cards, or a printer if you have one. I don't have a printer, so it's the note cards for me. A pair of scissors, right, or an adult to cut things for you. A pen, and then either 2 bowls or 2 hats, or even 2 envelopes, just something that you can put little pieces of paper in to move around. So that's what you're going to need for today, and then of course your imagination, which I know you always have. So let's get started. So as a writer, I get the question, where do you get your ideas all the time? And I think this is such a great question because as writers and artists and creators, we're always looking for inspiration and always looking for that thing that's going to make us say, wow, I have to sit down and write that. Or I want to know so much more about that. That sounds so cool. So what I thought I'd talk about very briefly is how I sort of see my own writing ideas. And what I'm going to say is that for me, getting an idea actually isn't just one thing, but it usually involves 2 very different ideas coming together in unexpected ways. And I like to think of these ideas as trains and explosions. So let's dive in. So let's say I'm walking along, trying to think about story ideas, and a story idea pops into my head. So in this case, a Cinderella retelling. And I love fairy tales, I love stories, so this is a very typical thing that I would be thinking about. Could I write a different kind of Cinderella and what would that look like? So I think of this idea as a train moving along the track in my head. So I'm walking through the world and thinking, here comes my Cinderella retelling idea. What would that look like? I'm not entirely sure, but I still think it's a cool premise. So for me, inspiration and real writing ideas don't quite come together until, so here comes my Cinderella train, another train appears. And usually something totally unexpected. So in this case, dragon fire magic, because I love dragons. So let's say I'm walking along and here's my Cinderella train, right? And maybe I've just read a story about dragons where I've been thinking about how cool magic is, and all of a sudden I think, dragon fire magic, and all at once, boom, there's an explosion. But not a real one, right? Just an explosion of ideas. And so for me, putting these 2 ideas together brings up so many cool questions, right? Cinderella with dragonfire magic, has she always had dragonfire magic and had to hide it? Or does the fairy godmother give her dragonfire magic? And if so, what is she going to do with it? Is she going to burn the house down because everyone's been so mean to her? Or is she going to go to the ball and rescue the prince from an evil sorcerer, and she's going to make everything explode and save the kingdom? There are so many questions. And of course, is the fairy godmother a dragon? Is Cinderella a dragon? Can people turn into dragons? Lots of really great fuel and material for a story. So what I want to do today is to give you a writing game that allows you to create your own trains, essentially, though you won't be cutting out trains. But it allows you to create your own trains and to combine ideas in unexpected ways and to see what kinds of explosions and inspirations come up. All right, so to get started, on the screen right now, you are going to see a list and a worksheet, which has column A and a list of characters, and column B, a list of descriptions. So either if you have a printer, there's a link to this sheet in the comments, so you can just print out this sheet and then cut out all the squares. Or what you can do is what I'm going to do, which is to pause the video here on the list and then write all the names and the descriptions down. So I'm going to cut my paper in half. And what you just want to be careful to do is to keep all the characters from column A separate from the characters in column B. And so that's why I suggest having maybe 2 bowls right here, or 2 hats, or 2 envelopes. So the moment that you write them down, you can just put them in the right pile. All right, so I'm going to start with column A. So So I have Cinderella, and I'm just going to fold it and put it in the column A bowl. And then, so that was all of column A, and now I'm going to repeat everything with column B. All right, so once you're done, you are going to take your 2 bowls, and then we are going to start playing. And this is something that you can do by yourself to get inspiration, or you can play it with other people or your parents if you want to see kind of the ideas that everyone comes up with. So what we're going to do is pick a piece of paper from column A, Rapunzel, and then pick a piece of paper from column B, in space. So 2 idea trains, Rapunzel in space. So maybe this causes an explosion of ideas for you. I know it does for me. I love stories set in space, and all I can think is, oh, that's so cool. Is Rapunzel a scientist in space? Is she an alien? Is that why she has the really long hair, and can it do really cool things and help her out on the spaceship? Or, you know how astronauts have to go onto the outside of a spaceship to fix it, and they're usually held on by some sort of cord? Does Rapunzel just use her hair to do that? What is she doing in space? Is she exploring in space? Who will she meet in space? I think this is a really cool potential combination. But of course, you can keep going and keep mixing and matching until you find something that creates the spark for you. So let's do just one more. Hansel and Gretel. With wings. Okay, I really like that one. Hansel and Gretel with wings. How does that change the story? Can they fly away from the witch's house? Or is that how they get on the roof to eat it, right? Because the roof is made of candy and they fly on to eat it. I think this is a cool one. So all this to say, please feel free to play, mix and match, or to make up your own categories. Maybe with whatever column A or column B, maybe you want different characters, maybe you want to think about different kinds of magic. And so I hope that one of these combinations will spark a story idea, which you can then use as inspiration when you sit down to write. And I want to say too that of course, this is a game that can also just be a storytelling game. So maybe you want to play it with someone else and draw out cards and then just tell each other the stories that come to mind. That is really awesome too. And I just want to say as well that one of the fun things about ideas and inspiration is that even if we are all inspired by the same ideas, we will always tell different stories. So I could write Cinderella with Dragonfire Magic, which I kind of really want to do now, and you could write Cinderella with Dragonfire Magic, and we will probably have 2 very different, exciting kinds of stories. So let's see what we come up with, and thank you so much for watching. See you soon.